Joe Biden made some promises that he was going to be an honest president. He wasn't. That he was going to be a moderate president. He wasn't. And that he was going to try to restore the soul of the nation. I don't think anybody believes that he did that. And on the way out the door, oh, by the way, he's pardoning his son retroactively for anything and everything going back a number of years. That did not sit well with the American people.
In this video, we're going to take a look at Scott Jennings of CNN repeatedly wrecking the clowns he works with. As you'd expect, the regular CNN hacks can't get over the fact that Donald Trump is now our president, and Scott Jennings reminds them that not only is he here, but he has big plans. With that, let's watch Scott Jennings do what he does best: crush the crybaby liberals at his garbage network.
Well, watching Donald Trump's day today, I'm just struck by the fact that we have a president again. I mean, look at this guy's day. 3 speeches, 196 executive actions, holds a 90-minute press conference narrating each one as he goes along. I mean, Joe Biden could not and would not offer the kind of transparency or vigor to the American people that we got here on day one from Trump. And tonight, Trump's going to throw on a tux and go to 3 balls. I mean, he's having an active day. I think it's going to be a massive amount of contrast here for a presidency like what we're going to see out of Trump and versus what we've had out of Biden. I was watching Trump today, and Van and I were talking earlier today, watching him walk down the hall of the Capitol, and the words that came to mind to me were gritty, resilient, determined, and audacious. There's not like a more perfect advertisement for the value of these qualities in modern America. I mean, you think about all the things that happened to him: winning, losing, the court cases, nearly being assassinated. It's rather audacious what he has accomplished, winning this election and taking office today. And you said you were in shock. Well, Republicans are in awe.
What about with the pardons? What's your take on that?
Here's what I think. Were these people punished? Yes. Were they ruined financially? Yes. Did they spend time in jail? Yes. Have their lives been ruined? Absolutely. And one of you said earlier, Van or Axe, that you think this sends a terrible signal that you can get away with things like this, as though we've never had a moment in recent American history when people were not punished for rampaging around when they shouldn't have been. It was the summer of 2020. And these people were actually punished. Those people were never even charged.
Hey, that's not true at all.
That's not true. Most charges were not.
Let him answer. But I do see it differently in that I don't like it when people tear up buildings at all. I'm not a part of some pro-riot, pro-crime lobby.
Yes, you are. You just have to say that you're not publicly, because if you said how you really felt, you know you'd look like an a-hole. You are absolutely in favor of rioting, looting, destruction, as long as it somehow hurts the conservative party. If you weren't pro-riot, weren't pro-crime, you would acknowledge that a lot of those BLM rioters' charges were dropped, barely got a slap on the wrist for burning entire cities down, and you'd condemn BLM just the way that every Republican I've seen condemns the actions of January 6th. But you never hear that about BLM from the left. Funny, huh? Scott Jennings talked about Donald Trump's resiliency. I agree with him 1,000%, but resilience not even a good enough word. I don't think we have a word in the English language that describes Donald Trump's toughness. I think if any of us are honest with ourselves and we look in the mirror and say, okay, we can have all those things thrown at us that have been thrown at Donald Trump, or be richer than 99.999% of the planet and still want to run for president and leave a positive legacy on this nation because you love it that much. I just think it would be hard for any other person to take what Donald Trump has had thrown at him and still love the country enough to want to fight for it. Anyway, let's check out the next clip.
And on inflicting as much pain as possible in communities across the country.
Donald Trump has said we're going to have a legal immigration system. And that's really the issue here is it going to be legal immigration where we know who people are, where they're coming from, why they're coming here? Are they of a benefit to our country? Are we going to continue to have the chaos of the last several years where millions upon millions upon millions of people just flow across the border? And I heard Maria say this is about inflicting pain, and I strongly disagree with that. I think a lot of pain has already been inflicted on our country. I'm sure Lake and Riley's family would say they're in enormous anguish still to this day because of what happened to their daughter when she was violently murdered by an illegal immigrant. There's pain felt in cities all over America. Talk to any local official. They're trying to deal with these illegal immigrant populations in New York and Chicago and many other cities. There's a lot of pain that's already been inflicted. The point is this: we have to have a legal immigration system, and it has to benefit the United States. The current system is of no benefit to the United States in the way that it has been administered over the last 4 years. And one final political point: the American people voted for Donald Trump to get this chaos under control. And the New York Times polling this weekend, it was not controversial. People want deportations of people who are here, especially if they are violent criminals.
Which is why I believe at the end of the day, the cruelty and the pain and the division is what Trump is after, because that is what his base wants. And
Maria, that's not true. I voted for Donald Trump, and I don't want cruelty and division. I want law and order, and I want an immigration system that works for the United
work
States.
With
and Donald Trump is
Scott.
Donald Trump is not interested in deporting people who are here legally. People who have followed all the rules. They're interested in primarily, right out of the gate, two populations: violent criminals and people who have existing adjudicated deportation orders. That's millions of people. And I refuse to accept the farcical argument that the U.S. economy is underpinned by rapists, murderers, and people who are awaiting deportation. It's just not true.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's check out one more clip.
Donald Trump right now is at the apex of his power. He's more popular than ever. His ideology is more popular than ever. And I think it's in large part because people were comparing the results of Biden and Trump won and saying, we're going back to Trump, and this was a lot better than what we got under Joe Biden. So I think a lot of his legacy, frankly, is going to be bookended by the fact that he and Obama gave us Trump the first time, and then he gave us Trump 2.0, stronger than ever. Joe Biden made some promises that he was going to be an honest president. He wasn't. That he was going to be a moderate president. He wasn't. And that he was going to try to restore the soul of the nation. I don't think anybody believes that he did that. And on the way out the door, oh, by the way, he's pardoning his son retroactively for anything and everything going back a number of years. That did not sit well with the American people. So when you consider the inflation, Afghanistan, border, the pardons, and really Joe Biden not living up to what he said he was going to be, I think it's going to be hard for him to make a comeback in the near term.
So, yeah, I'm really proud, actually, of the work Joe Biden did for our country.
I got to say, I'm on my way to a ball. I think Paul's already been out to one already. I'd like to get into whatever he's drinking and the description of the Joe Biden presidency.
Some of that good Kentucky bourbon you gave
if everything you said was true, he should have had no trouble getting reelected, and he should not have a 34% approval rating. The truth is, on so many issues, he failed. And not only did he fail, but he and his people were dishonest with the American people about it, telling us the border is secure when it's not, telling us that the Afghanistan pullout was a wonderful accomplishment, and most damagingly last year, telling us that he was fit for office when clearly he was not. And the biggest cover-up in modern political history took place on his watch, and I guess at the direction of him and his top people. That is going to live with him for a very, very long time. Even Democrats now admit that Joe Biden was not with it, and they all went along with it too, and they have no one to blame but themselves. I do agree with what Paul said earlier. He should never have run for re-election, but the fact that he's now saying he could have won is delusional, and the fact that he's saying Kamala Harris could have won is basically saying she ran a crap campaign. So he's left his own party in somewhat political chaos.
Both very sharply dressed, so thank you.
Yeah, if this punditry doesn't work out, I'll be able to show you two to your table at the next dinner seating. So.
We look forward to that. All right, Scott Jennings, Paul Begala, thanks to both of you.
You know, we do all owe Joe Biden a huge debt of gratitude. His bumbling, incompetent handling of the presidency made tens of millions of people wake up, and their vote for Donald Trump in our most recent election, where he dominated the popular vote, to me is essentially a big, I'm sorry, Donald Trump, we were wrong about you, from, like I said, tens of millions of people. So thank you for your incompetence, Joe Biden. I wish it hadn't come to that. We didn't have to all live through 4 years of Joe Biden, but that's where we are now, and Donald Trump's getting to work. You know, when they were having that immigration conversation, I was thinking, if you say out loud that you have a problem with enforcing our immigration laws, you're just a liar and an ideologue, because who wouldn't be for that unless you had political motivations? And all these virtue signaling a-holes on CNN and MSNBC and everywhere else that act like they care so much about illegal immigrants, you know who they never talk about? Legal immigrants. Isn't that kind of a slap in the face to them? And when I say they care is definitely the wrong word, because they don't give a shit about anybody else. They look at anyone who's not in their bubble as below them, and they think they're better than them. These people are just pawns to them. So they can miss me with all their moral superiority. And finally, I'll say, if Scott Jennings were to quit news like this minute, I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer for doing what he does every day. And while he's an amazing debater and good at articulating his points, I think, like I said, Donald Trump was resilient. He's resilient too, because it wouldn't be the debating that would wear me down if I were in his position. It would be having to listen to lies and total nonsense 24 hours a day and try to stay composed and not just pull every single hair in your head out of your scalp. Needless to say, I think he does a great job. But we want to hear from you. What do you all think about Scott Jennings in general, about Donald Trump's first day in office and how active he is as compared to our last president who took naps for 23 hours a day? Let us know. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.